Hello and welcome to another edition of TSL Talk. We've changed venues once again, and I'm joined by my colleague Adam Smith to have a look at round 18, and it's a very important round for the makeup of the finals. Adam, I suppose the obvious game is Lauderdale-Clarence down at Lauderdale, where Lauderdale need a victory and probably with a little bit of percentage just to make sure of that third spot.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I think they're about 9 percentage points clear of Launceston as it stands, and at this stage of the year, that's a big gap to make up in a final round. So you'd have to suggest that Launceston will have to beat Hobart by a lot, and Lauderdale have to only just scrape over the line to lose that spot if that was the case. So I reckon that if Lauderdale win, they get third spot in that double chance.
Clarence defeated North Hobart last week, the first win in 3 games, but did it throw up more questions than answers?
Yeah, possibly. You know, they the talk all week was that they really wanted to start well and correct the deficiencies they'd had in the previous fortnight, and they did that. They had 7 goals on the board in the first 15 minutes, and North Hobart were playing catch up from then on. But they did catch him and nearly got him. So it wasn't the most polished finish from the Roos, and Matthew Drew still have a few questions that he's asking of his group, with finals obviously a week away.
Lauderdale have got some good form. I mean, I think they've won 3 or 4 of their last games, including a win over Launceston in that. But they've never defeated Clarence in the TSL. This seems to be the perfect opportunity.
Yeah, they've got closer and closer, and as the season's gone on in the 2 meetings already, and I think it was only a kick in at last time down at Lauderdale. So you'd think that this is their best chance ever to knock off Clarence in the TSL, and probably need to do that, I guess, going into finals. If they win, they'll play them again, next week. So what better way to prepare for that than taking on their, their Eastern Shore big brother, and sort of showing that they are here to play.
And realistically, if you want to win the premiership, you've got to finish in the top 3. It's much harder than if they finish in 4th and start off with the elimination final.
Yeah, absolutely. Long way home. I probably think that Launceston's probably the only side that could do that. I couldn't see Lauderdale winning the flag from 4th. So, given the way that the players that Launceston have, the guys they've got coming back, and the form they've shown, I'd reckon that outside the top 3, they'd be the only side that could maybe cause that upset.
And just on Launceston, they obviously play Hobart this week. Maybe you should just touch on Hobart. Obviously, this is their final game of the season. Not only are they winless, but they've lost 3 of the last 4 games by over 100 points. I'm pretty sure the average losing margin for the season is 82 points. It's statistically the worst season by any team in the TSL. It's a pretty low ebb, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. We know we've had South Launceston struggling for a couple of years. We've had Devonport, when they were at the bottom of the pack for a while as well. But you'd have to say this is without a doubt the worst season the club's had in the TSL. So obviously there are a few reasons for that. They lost a lot of players, and you can't hide away from that. But some of the efforts they've put up probably haven't really been up to scratch of what you really need, even from a young group. You'd think they might be able to get a little bit closer. So they'll be looking forward to finishing the season off, hopefully on a strong note. I don't think anybody thinks they can get close to Launceston, but if they can set some goals and at least make a fight of it for a couple of quarters, I think it'll be a win for them.
And there's just so much uncertainty in going to next season. I mean, what's the situation with the licence, this joint venture? If there's no future for Hobart, will they lose even more players? So even if they do go on and fill out the end of their first season, it could be another year like this next season.
Yeah, that's the problem, I think. I guess if depending on what does happen moving forward and everything with the licence agreement, whether the players are going to come back to the club, you just don't know. You wouldn't assume so. I guess if they've left for a reason. So a lot of uncertainty in the landscape at the moment, and we'll just have to wait and see. And hopefully they can at least put a better foot forward next year if they are still playing in the competition.
And Burnley take on South Launceston. Burnley almost guaranteed that top spot, but South Launceston have had a good season. I think they can certainly take more than a pass for 2012.
Oh, absolutely. They'll be clearly the most improved team in the comp, I reckon, maybe outside of Lauderdale. From where they've come from, they seem to have at least got a bit of a winning culture there. There were a few questions Mitch thought when he took on the job of whether they thought he was ready for a senior coaching role, but he's obviously worked wonders. He's got that group galvanised, and the fact that they really did push Launceston last weekend probably shows how far they've come this year.
North Launceston and Devonport, 2 other teams that won't play in the final. I think Devonport only the 2 wins, but I think they've actually been better than their win-loss ratio. North Launceston, I think you can make a fair case. North Launceston's probably been the most disappointing team since the TSL was reborn. They've never finished higher. Like the old TSL, they were a real powerhouse. Since this reintroduction, they've had a different coach every year. they've never finished higher than 6, and this year it might come down to percentage, but there's a fair chance they'll finish behind South Launceston.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. They have been the biggest disappointments. No continuity, and it's obviously shown, as you said, 4 different coaches. Zane Littlejohn's at least signed on for next year. They've shown glimpses of patches in forms, in games. They've pushed the top sides, but they just need to really, work on a whole 4-quarter effort to, be able to do it week in, week out, which they're just not doing at the moment. They've obviously got a lot of talented kids. Maybe if they can keep them and get a couple of hardened bodies next year, then hopefully we can see, the North Launceston of old.
And the final game is North Hobart and Glenorchy at North Hobart Oval. Glenorchy finished 5th, but they can't finish higher or lower. North Hobart can't make the finals. Who's going to have the most motivation for this game?
Yeah, it's a tough one. You'd probably say Glenorchy. You don't want to be taking losing form into finals, I guess. So they'll be hell-bent, I reckon, on coming out. North Hobart knocked them off last time they played, so they'll probably want to rectify that. But North Hobart have shown, again, last week they pushed Clans for 3 quarters. Can most bet your bottom dollar that Glenorchy will get the jump on, and that's been the case in North Hobart the last few weeks. So I'd say Glenorchy will be the more hungrier of the two. North Hobart want to finish the season on a good note, but I think with nothing to play for, Glenorchy at least want to be carrying over some decent form heading into a finals clash.
Would you give North Hobart a pass mark for the season?
No.
Fair enough. Thanks for all your thoughts again, Adam, and remember, for all your TSL stories, pick up a copy of the Mercury or go to the Mercury online.